everyone. Welcome. Today is June 1st, 2022. It is Hump Day. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. This year's going by fast, y'all. Hi, Cole. Welcome. You're number one today. Welcome. Bob, welcome. You're number two, and Power Girl, you're number three. Welcome. Oh. Make sure my phone is turned down. Power Girl, let's see. You're number three, and Ziller, welcome. Ninja Bunny, hey. Hey, Frankie. Frankie, you've been lagging the last month or so. Everybody's beating you. You're usually number one. Thanks for sharing the show, Ninja Bunny. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to get started, and anyone over on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, welcome to you. Okay, so today I want to talk about sin. Why does sin taste so good? Why are people attracted to the bad boys and girls or girls? Why do some people want a taste of sin? So, when my son was going to brick and mortar school before he was homeschooled, welcome mafioso. He always wanted to hang out with this one particular boy. I'm not going to say his name, but he just sticks in my mind. And my son and I, we talk about him every so often. But this kid was just bad, And I'm like, well, why don't you play with so and so? Or why don't you play with so and so? And my son looked me dead in my eye. He said, because blank, blank, blank is fun. He's fun. So, and I remember looking at him, and and then you realize that, okay, so he wants to hang out with this bad boy because he's fun. So is that why, when we get older and, girls hang out with the bad boys, or, the boys hang out with the bad girls, or date the bad girls, you date the bad boys, whatever. Is it because it's fun? Is it because it's excitement? You know, or even when another way to say a taste of sin is, if you hang out with a quote unquote wrong crowd, and maybe, they're smoking a little bit of weed, or, uh, you know, they're going to, do something that, you know, you're not supposed to do because it's fun, because, um, that little taste of sin kind of gives you, a little taste of excitement that you otherwise would not have. But then does that graduate into something more sinister? And when I say more sinister is, okay, so the people who are smoking weed today, are they going to be doing something a little harder tomorrow, and they're going to want you to join in? Or, the person who broke into the principal's office in high school as a prank, are they now, breaking into homes and, stealing cars and what have you? So does that go up? Does that, do they take it to the next level? And if they do, are you willing to go with them? So, I think we've all had our little taste of sin, doing things that, my mom will, get me, or my dad, whatever, ha ha ha, whatever. But then we realize as we get older that you shouldn't, or even when you're younger that you shouldn't, do whatever. So that is my question today. For some people, why do they want to hang around the bad boys and the bad girls? So, oh, and Brina, I apologize from yesterday. I was going through my stats last night, and I saw that you gave me a gift, and I did not acknowledge you, and I am acknowledging you today. So, thank you very much. I apologize for missing you. So, thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's read some of these comments. Let me go up. Everybody's saying hello to everyone. Uh, uh, let's see, Ziller, you want to come up? Okay, let me just read some of these comments. Okay. Okay, you all are talking to each other. Okay, Mafiosa says, "I love me a bad girl, just not a psycho girl." Okay, and thank you, Brina. And Heiko is telling Mafioso you're related to today's topic. I know my Christian side will come out. Okay, so Ziller, hey, hey, hey. So,
Hey, what's up, Solid?
what's up to you? So, what do you want to say today?
This is great because, like I said, I was an evil little kid when I was young.
So, okay, evil, or were you bad, or were you just
Oh no!
mischievous?
Oh, this is gonna be fun, and you're gonna like it. No, I was just that one. No, sin got to me immediately, like throwing chairs, and like I said before, no, this one, this one goes really good. No, the girls wanted me completely just because I was a total asshole. When you was saying earlier about just that one person, they wanted to hang out because a the chess club or I was beating up a freaking teacher.
Wait,
But
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What did you say? You were in the chess club, or you were what?
or I was beating up a teacher.
You were beating up a teacher, Ziller.
Yes,
Why?
be because my medicine was unbalanced, or or I didn't understand what I was learning in school because I had brain damage.
Okay. Okay. So, why do you think people want to hang out with bad boys
Girls
or
like
bad
it.
girls?
Girls like it. Boys like bad girls because it's fun to be around. It's action packed. It's a fun ride. It's like riding a roller coaster.
Okay.
Guys,
All right.
guys, guys like to do it because they think it's fun, but when they get older, it's a stupid. It's looking back in its stupidity,
Okay.
and f- just like I see, I I've already told you this is. You see me totally different now. Like I told you, you would hate me. I would have been outside your damn. I'd be out your door. Out your door. I would have been up for you.
Well, it's interesting because when I thought about doing this topic, and you look up, why people are attracted to quote unquote bad people. Some people think it gives them a confidence that they don't have. That you're watching someone do something that you usually wouldn't do. So it's like, the idea you think, well, if you do it, well, then I'll do it too. And that's, usually true when you're young. When you're, out having recess, with your friends during lunch or whatever. It's like, well, if you do, then I'll do it. Um, they think it's cute. They think it's funny. But then as you get older, it's almost as if the dares get more daring. I mean, how many people play? And I may be dating myself. I don't know if people still do this, if kids still do this today. But how many people play truth or dare? You either tell the truth or you take the dare. And the dare was usually something that you definitely didn't want to do, or it was something silly. And if you were playing and truth or dare in a mixed crowd, it would be something like, oh, well, you know, take off your shirt, something like that, or the truth. If you chose truth, then they would ask you something really, really personal. So, again, are we attracted to people like that because there's a confidence level that they have that you that you possibly don't? Welcome, Crazy Kyle. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing the last name correctly, but welcome. So, let's see. Mafiosa says I started being a thief when I was 5 years old. Okay. Frankie asked Mafiosa why apologize. Ninja Bunny says my guy is the perfect mixture of bad and good boy, not too goody goody. Mafioso says seeing my kids grow up, they were so different than when I was a kid. Okay, Frankie. Mafioso says you'll see. Okay. Heiko says, "Are there more honest than you?" Asking Mafiosa. Grandpa. Okay, Grandpa's here. Okay.
Good.
Wait, hold on. Let me finish going through some of these comments. Heiko, I actually enjoyed stealing till I was older and got caught the first time. Okay, good. Crazy Kai. I'm glad I pronounced the name correctly. And let's see, they're really awesome. Okay, so Grandpa is back. So, hello, welcome back.
Well,
Solid.
hello.
Solid.
What?
What?
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid?
Oh, you're
Yeah,
telling us
okay,
Sally.
solid.
Okay. Hey, Grandpa.
I
So, what
hope
do you want to
everything's
say?
going good with you today.
Yes, I'm having a very good day. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, mine's going good considering everything that's going on, and I just hope everybody's having a great day. You know,
So, Grandpa, have you ever been tempted by sin? Have you ever wanted to hang out with the bad boys or the bad girls?
oh, in my younger days, yes, did.
Okay.
I wanted to be with certain ones that done things that I either didn't do or just wanted to do. So yes, I was tempted to get with the good guys sometimes, and sometimes with the bad guys. Same way with the girls.
Well,
Uh,
were you ever a bad boy doing some things when you were growing up?
well, I done a few uh, small bad things. Yes,
Okay, all
you
right.
know, I was very much more good than I ever was bad.
Well,
And
that's a good thing. That's a
yeah,
good
that
thing.
was a good thing. It kept me out of big trouble. You know.
Okay, all right. Well, Grandpa, I want to tell you that Brina and Mafioso both say hello to you. So they say hello, Grandpa. Hi, Grandpa, and hi, Grandpa Ziller.
Well, good. And tell them ask back that I said hi to them and to everybody that's listening now too. I say hi. Uh,
Okay, all right.
so I'm I don't know exactly how to answer everything. In the way that y'all do, but I know how I grew up and what I learned and all, so I'll answer anything and everything to the best of my ability.
Well, that's the only thing that we all can do is just answer, the best way we can.
Yeah, but I'm gonna let you go and get with other people, and you have a very blissful day.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, so that was Grandpa Ziller. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's see. Mafioso says, wait, hold on. What? Hold on, what is going on here? Hold on one second. Oh, hold on. This is my other app. Okay. Okay, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can.
All right. All right. My other app that I'm streaming over onto the other apps went kind of haywire there for a moment. So let me do this. There we go. Okay. So what do you guys think? I mean, okay, Zilla, why are you apologizing? You're apologizing for your grandfather. No, no, no. Don't worry about that. He is a nice addition to the show. So thank you. I appreciate him wanting to pop in. English, Hilo, English, I'm assuming Hilo, welcome and welcome ERCV. So, so what do you guys think? And Brina says, Ziller, he's a pleasure. Glad he's sharing. So, yes. Um, so seriously, guys, do you guys, I mean, is it a confidence thing? I mean, do you think that's what it is? You know, that's one reason why you want to hang out with the bad boys or girls. Mafia also says temptation is a rush. The older you get, you tend to calm down. Okay. So what about those? So mafioso, what about those people that don't calm down? What about as you get older, for whatever reason, you still want that rush. You still want to do some of the things that you do. So, for instance, the people who are robbing banks, the people who are constantly their entire life just in trouble, in trouble, in trouble. Is it the rush, or they don't know any better? That's all they know. I mean, so what about those people who don't calm down?
Solid. I have a perfect example for that. I had a friend named Ben. He is now serving sentence in prison for life. He went he did a lot of things, and he's now in prison for life. So that was his downfall. So
Well, right, so and I'm saying, why is it that you just continue to go on that path? And Brina says, when we're younger, we want to be part of the cool crowd. As we get older, we care less about what people think of us. This is true. My people says they might not know better. Nobody took the time to show them to change their ways. Okay, but Mafioso, what if you have you're in a group of people. Okay, all of you all grew up on the same block. You went to the same school. Um, you all just hung out, but there was always that one person who always was that bad person who everyone said, yeah, they're going to grow up and they're going to be this, this, and this, or they're going to end up in jail. And that person does. Or that person, while everyone else is, going their own way, they're, you know, going to college or having families or, working and, just not being bad. you know, why is it that all of you all were in that same group with that one person? So when you say that someone didn't teach them, maybe you don't learn at home, but don't you think that if you're around the right people, the positive people, someone that you can see and look up as a role model, and you're around all your friends who are doing something in a productive way, you don't think that would be something to teach them to change their ways? And okay, and you're saying I was always told that that would be you. Okay, so apparently it's not.
Um.
So, Ziller, you want to say something else?
Oh yeah. Chess club helped me out. My math teacher helped me out. He was my role model. He turned me the different direction. Um. Like I told you, I was bad at. I had a learning disability, and he took that in and he helped me with. I was terrible at it, but he stayed after hours when he could when he didn't have to, and he turned that frustration. He took chess in the way of turning the pawns into mathematical formations, and that turned my frustration into a game of fun of chess into a game of we're doing math problems in that sort of way. We went from playing a one game of chess and doing 30 math problems, and then you keep on playing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got over my frustration. Is my math teacher said, "I'll play a game of chess, but you gotta do 30 math problems."
Okay. I mean, and I understand that. I mean, I know that for some people, it's a give and take. Okay, well, I'll do this with you, or I'll do that for you, but you have to do this. I mean, and I understand that, but um, again, I come back to my question. Um, for some of us, why does sin taste good? I mean, why do we just like it? And okay, in Hilo, and you're gonna have to tell me how to pronounce this when you pop on. So, if you're coming on, did I miss you? Hold on, let me send out another one. Okay, you are here. Okay, hello, welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you.
Okay, did you want to
I
say you want to add
yeah,
on to yeah?
I like it. The question it was the question is like so profound question. So when you said why does sin taste so good, I think you're assuming that sin is a good. Or yeah, I mean sin tastes good. That's what you're assuming. That's what the question. What that what the
Right.
question?
Why
Yeah.
do some people like to just hang around bad people or do bad things?
Yeah. So first, I wanna understand well about what do you mean sin? Sin, do you mean breaking the law of the country, or sin you mean a certain organized religion you follow to break that rules that you follow? What do you mean sin? First of
Well,
all,
to me, when I say sin, people can take it in different ways. When I say sin, I mean that you're, doing something bad, but it could be where you are just being, a child, stealing that cookie, from the cookie jar when you were told no, or it could be something more sinister. So, but some people like to be around people that do things. So I guess you can take
yeah,
it at
yeah,
whatever level you wish.
yeah. I think sometimes people make something which is not sin. They make something which is normal. Like some of the countries, if you make certain things, it's a sin, and they will look you as a bad. And though it's not sin, and you are saying like, so sin is testing so good, but it's not sin already there. It's depend on the society you are in. I mean, maybe if you mean sin like the instance like the murdering or killing other persons or robbing, something like that. If you mean that, it's not a that's so good. It's obviously. I think that's the way I understand.
Well, and that's why I say it depends upon your way of thinking of it. What we each everyone can look at sin differently. Some people may look at sin if you go and you kill someone. That's a sin. If you take the family car when your father told you not to, that may not be a sin. You know,
Yeah,
um,
maybe that's not a sin. Maybe
you know,
according to your father, you make a mistake, or according to him, maybe it's a sin, but that's not in my view. That's not a sin.
Okay,
It's just
so again, I say, what is your definition? And a sin is technically an immoral act considered to be a transgression against divine law.
yeah. That's not a to a certain extent. It's like that because maybe if you even if you don't follow a certain religion, your instincts can tell you something not to kill, even if you are not religious.
Okay, all right. Now, Mafioso says sin is easy, being good is hard. So, do you think that it's easier to sin than to not sin?
I think it's not sin. Is not it's not easy. Robbing, is a sin. Is it easy?
Well, if you're robbing someone, I would consider that a sin. I mean, because
Yeah, and it's not easy.
okay, but do you not believe that there are again certain levels?
Yeah,
If you take that cookie from the cookie jar, then your mom or your dad may think that's a sin.
yeah, that's a sin. But in that level, you could say by following the order of your parents and not stealing that cookie, it's not hard. It's not harder than taking it.
But technically, no sin is greater than the other. Technically, when you do something bad, you know,
Okay.
um, you know, there's, you know, there's no sin that's worse than the other. I mean, we may see it as being worse, but technically, from the Bible, a sin is a sin. So the person that kills someone, you know, and the person who just stole someone's car, they both sin.
Right.
Yeah.
So okay, Heiko says sin is being rude, and sin is just not done by bad people, is what Mafioso says. So Michael Key is here. Welcome, Michael. What would you like to add to the conversation? And Hilo, I'm going to put you on mute while Michael's talking. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Well, I haven't been in here that long, but what? Give me the basis because I had something I was going to say before, but give me. I want to make sure I have the conversation right as well.
Okay, well, my initial question is, why does sin taste so good? Why are some people they want to hang out with the bad boys or girls, and why do some people just want a taste of sin? So meaning, like before you came on, one of the very first things I said is when my son was like in third grade, he
Mhm.
always wanted to hang out with this one bad boy. I mean, the boy was just bad. And I asked my son, why don't you go play with so and so or play with them? And he looked me dead in my eye and said, because he's fun. So when you look at that, it's like, do you hang out with bad people, the bad boys, the bad girls, because they're fun and it's exciting, but then that graduates to other stuff like that fun and excitement as you get older could turn into something sinister where you are robbing banks, killing people, doing bad things.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. So I think I don't know how much of a role the first has to do with the latter. Like as far as okay, some girls like the bad boy, right? I mean that's something common you always hear, or based on, like with your son. Yeah, he likes hanging out with that one kid because he's fun. But I don't know how much that actually plays in developing into something like going and being a career criminal later on in life. I think that you have to look at them differently. So it's funny that we're talking about like the sin part because I was looking at why does crime happen? Like, what's the main drivers of crime? And one thing that I've always concluded was it's not so much poverty that drives crime. It's a risk to reward, right? It has to be worth doing because you know the punishment. And so as far as why do people sin, I think that the payoff for the sin, whatever it may be, outweighs the risk to them.
But okay, but do you think that sin? Okay, so I go back to, let's say you're out with your friends. Say you are a senior and it's your last year, and you all are just hanging out, and you all are just having fun. But you always have that one person who wants to take things just a little bit further,
Mm-hmm.
and and you. I mean, is it an excitement thing that that person is sinning? The things that they want to do is not right. It is wrong. But you all are all out, whatever. You're having fun. You're with your friends. You're young, usually dumb and stupid,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and you do stuff that you shouldn't. Is it that rush?
Yes.
And as I said with mafiosa, it's like, why is it that that same group, all of you all grew up together, all you all grew up in the same on the same block, you went to the same school, but that one person can go and take sin to the next level, where
Mm-hmm.
everyone else, they go off and they become, doctors, lawyers, or parents, or whatever, but that one person goes that other route, but
Yeah.
all of you
So
all were around each other.
yeah, and I know you're saying the word sin, but there's so many other words and ways to describe this. This is actually pretty interesting. So if you think about it, okay, like when I grew up, I had a bunch of friends that did drugs and all that, and then I have some of them were very good athletes. One of them was the highest recruited player on our team. We got a full scholarship to play at Maryland. He was also the one to get kicked out of school first at Maryland for drugs, and it makes you wonder. So how come if we were all doing, let's say we were all doing the same stuff in high school, why did some people pan out? How come others didn't? There's a lot of different circumstances. It could be this example. Let's say we all kind of dabbled in smoking weed or whatever, but then maybe one did Xanax, maybe one did something harder and got hooked on it, and so you have certain variables there, maybe a home life issue. But I think a lot of what starts that there's so many variables, but the rush of it, absolutely. And that shows with how come someone like Travis Pastrana is willing to go out and do these crazy stunts, like, Evil Knievel times 10 stunts. But me, I would never even think about that. Why is it that, and some people do chase adrenaline. That is it's a drug to them. It is an addiction. And maybe
So,
not so much on that level, but on a smaller level, yeah, with criminals, a lot of that could be the same thing too.
okay, and I purposely said sin because, like Hilo, um, you know, what is the definition? Like, what is sin? I mean, you can look at sin in different ways. Like I said, you steal that, that 5-year-old takes that cookie from the cookie jar when his mother said no. Technically, that's a sin because your mother said don't do it, and you went against your mom.
Gotcha.
So,
It's, so that goes back to like when I said risk to reward, right? If you think about it, you're willing to do it because the reward of that cookie outweighed what you perceived as the risk that for the punishment your mom would give you. Um, and I think that's a main driver in, let's take it to another level. Let's say, dealing drugs, and you're in the hood. Well, do you think they want to do that? I don't think they inherently want to go and do that, and they know that it's against the law. But what's the trade-off? Okay, where can I go work? I may not be able to go work, or if I do, I'm going to go make minimum wage where I can go and sell drugs right here, even at a low level, and make $400-500 a day or more in cash. The risk, yeah, I'm going to go to jail, but I'm already barely living at a home. I'm very broke. If I go to jail, I get 3 meals a day, and at least I um have some kind of shelter. So they're just out, they're just weighing the risk.
but okay, but at the same time, what about those people who come and buy those drugs? Who come into the various
Mm-hmm.
neighborhoods and whatever,
Yeah.
aren't they sinning by
They are. Yeah.
buying drugs? So
Yeah, and that's a
all
whole
the
different type. So you're going into someone who is kind of, if you're, a lot of the people that are buying those drugs maybe past that risk to reward. Initially it started out as that, but now it's an addiction and they don't have a choice, right? They are so hooked on it. It's either I got to go get that fix or I'm not going to be able to function. And but I think it all initially starts out with that. Why smoke weed at all? Why? Well, because the effects. So why pay the $20 for a gram of weed? Well, because it feels good. So I think the feeling of it's better than the money paid for it.
Okay, Michael, I have another question for you, but I
Yeah.
want to hear what Bob has to say, because I have a feeling that he's going to say something that I know is going to tie in with what I want to ask you. So,
Yeah.
Bob,
You're probably right.
you are faint, Bob. You got to come closer to the mic.
Is that better?
No.
No, and I know you're busy doing something, but can you?
I don't know what to do because I'm holding my phone right next to my mouth.
Okay. I don't know. Podbean's been acting crazy lately when it comes to hearing people, but go on. We will try to hear. Go ahead.
Well, I think you know what I'm going to say. The reason I think people sin and do bad things is for a few reasons, such as demoralization, which means lowering the moral standards of what is good and what is bad. Possibly the lack of religion, separation of church and state, was probably an issue. And I'm not religious, but I do see the advantage of that. And obviously a lack of parental guidance. So there's no moral guidance there, so people are kind of being brought up by the TV or the government or government care, and that's what breeds these children going to school feeling unloved, trying drugs, doing bad things, and then obviously that stays with them later on in life.
Okay, so both to you and Michael. So I said what the definition of sin is, at least according to the dictionary. It is an immoral act considered to be a transgression against divine law. That's the technical answer, and I'll put it in the chat again. So to both Ba and Michael, whoever wants to answer first, what is your definition of sin?
Ooh. I've always thought of sin as something that, like, again, this is just the way I've always thought of it, was maybe something that was bad or not accepted. And that could be, a sin in a Muslim culture or in another country may not be a sin here, right? It could be different, but I know you have your basic ones. But when you hear sin, like, oh, you sinned, like you weren't living up to the standard put, in front of you. I mean, I know it's derives from religious ideology, but at the same time, even if you're not religious, that doesn't mean you can't sin. I mean, if you're doing something bad, theoretically you're doing a sin, right?
Yeah, but okay, so Mafioso says if I stole my dad's car, he was going to kill me and sin. Okay, so if your dad is going to kill you, yes, that's a sin, but you, like I said, you stole your dad's car. Isn't that a sin? Because you were not supposed to take it.
You're both sins. He's supposed to forgive.
Okay, so then when you start talking about people selling drugs and whatever, do you think that one sin is greater than the other?
So I do, but I know that it's not written like that, right? Or it's not.
Right.
And correct me if I'm wrong. It's not. I mean, was it adultery? Basically, in the eyes of God, is no different than murder. Correct.
Right.
I mean,
correct. Exactly.
and so, but isn't then homosexuality also in that same boat and
Yep.
others?
Yes, it is. It
Yeah.
is. So that's why I said, so when you're hanging out with these, bad boys or bad girls, yes, I do believe that it is a rush. But
Mhm.
again, why is it that you're all in that same group, but that one person tends to end up in jail or end up, on the
Mhm.
wrong side, but all the rest of you are doing something, you're just living your life.
Yeah. As far as like why that happens, again, I think it goes back to there's so many different variables and differences in everyone's life that leads to that. How is it that two a brother and a sister, or a brother and brother, or sister and sister that are siblings can have two completely different outcomes in life, right? How come one can be a drug addict, the other one can be successful? You see it all the time.
Yeah, and
They come from the same house, same parenting.
yes, and and that's is something that I've always wondered. It's like, how can two people who grow up in the same house,
Mm-hmm.
one goes left and the other one goes right? I mean, it's like, how does that happen?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I'll give you an example. I have Tourette's, right? No one else in my family that I know of has it. At least my brothers don't. So I may have had to deal with certain things that they didn't, right? With people picking on me. I got in a lot of fights. There's just certain things there that could sway the road that I went down differently than my brother. I mean, my brother made friends out a lot easier than I did. He's just that person. He gets along with everyone. Um, I'm a little more picky and choosy, I think. And so everyone has different personalities, everyone has different motivations, everyone has different circumstances, even if you do live in the same house.
No. You make a very good point, because for my stutter, no one in my family does.
Mhm.
And uh, when I used to go to speech, class when I
Yeah.
was younger, they would ask, well, did your grandmother do it? And it's like, nope, 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 nope. But I did, and I always did. And at the same time, you are making sense, because I was the only person in my immediate family that smoked
Yeah.
until I realized how stupid it was and I stopped. But but it's just interesting to me how, again, you're in the same household and you
Mhm.
just take different paths.
Yeah.
And I know Ziller's been dying to say something. So Ziller,
Here's go ahead, Solid.
no, go ahead, Ziller, go ahead.
Well, here and last time I said this, you really did not like this. I could tell by the tone when you said this. So I know you might say something, but here's like I told you, where I grew up helped me with this situation too. Like I told you, I went my elementary, middle school, and high school. I grew up in a ghetto, and I have black friends. Last time you didn't like what I said about that. You said about the situation about that. But I'll give a.
Ziller, I have no idea what you're talking about, but go ahead. Go ahead.
But anyways, that helped me as well. Learning. Anyway, no,
So wait, I'm sorry, you kind of lost me. So you're saying being around black people help you learn?
no, not that. No, it's
I'm sorry, Ziller. I'm totally lost.
no, it's the. Solid. I'll get. I'll Instagram you this one, okay? I don't want to. Um,
Oh, okay. Do I need to look in the chat?
I'll Instagram you this one.
Oh,
To make sense.
okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm just lost. I'm just
Y- y-
a little
A
lost
lot of
here. So,
people are lost at this subject.
all right. Let's see. Mafioso says stealing is illegal because it's a sin. Most laws were implemented by the commandments. I was going to get around to that. Yes, every sin holds the same value. English Hilo Hill, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
listening.
what about what Michael said? What do you think about what Michael said?
Yeah, Michael, his points makes sense actually. And the actually, I was thinking about the question like you say that a sin is against them. It's like you say technically like something against the moral. So and a moral is depend on to have a deity to tell you moral is. So so it means a sin depend on if you believe what kind of religion you believe. That's the sin you will think about you are making or not making. So a sin is I think it's a subjective, like if people have different beliefs and different deities they believe, sin will be a subjective thing. Or if even if you are atheist, there is no sin there. If you are atheist or not believe in any deity, you, you there's nothing that you have in your dictionary that's a sin. You do everything because you don't believe in morality. So that's in a general the way I see things about this question you we have talking about. So I'm
Okay.
sorry, my English not that well. So what do you think, Michael, about what I points I make?
Yeah, no, I think you do have a point. I think, like with religion, all right, let's look at one example here. I saw something the other day, solid, that um, black people who come from like Nigeria, I think it is, are usually end up being very successful here, right? There's
Hmm.
like a higher percentage of them as far as success rates than black people who are born in the United States. Now, why is that? Because a lot of them, when they come here, are still, poor, like they're getting started and stuff like that. I think a lot of it could be circumstance. A lot of it could be maybe culture differences. I don't know. And it shows, across not just that example, but a whole bunch of others. Like with a religion, you have different religions and you have different beliefs. You have um, one religion, like there's some people in the Muslim religion. And again, I'm not Muslim. I don't know. I'm just going off of like what I've seen or what people have said. But they will go and commit suicide in an act of terrorism for what they believe is the greater cause. I mean, if you committed suicide in Christianity, I believe that's a sin as well, is it not? And uh, so I think there's a lot of cultural differences, and I've always found it funny that and I am religious somewhat, and I believe in God, but I do have my critiques, and we say Jesus Christ died for our sins, but I think some people view that as, well, that just means I can live my life normally and sin and sin and sin because he's already paid the bill for me. Um, as long as I just say I'm sorry for doing it. Well, is it bad to commit the sin, or is it bad to commit the sin and just not acknowledge that you committed the sin? And so I think culture plays a lot into it. I think religion does play a lot into it. Um, I mean, like sex before marriage. How many people do that? How many religious people do that? Well, I can tell you right now that one of the most religious people I've ever known is a girl that I dated, and we sinned quite a bit. I mean, I'm sure she was repentant for it, but she kept doing it. So, at what is it? I mean, if you're talking about like just the basic sins of religion, and as far as the way our law perceives it, yeah, I mean, sins do hold different weight. As far as the way God sees it, they're supposed to be equal weight. But we can all admit, I think, that if you committed murder, well, you take away that person's ability to lead a sinless life, or at least to repent for any sins that they didn't repent for. And I don't know. I mean, it's a tricky thing, but I think a lot of it's circumstantial. I think many people have different reasons. I don't think it's a class thing. I don't think it's a race thing. I think it's just people chase that rush. People do things, but I do think that everyone is rational. And when I say everyone's rational, it means that they're going to make what they perceive as the best decision based off of all the information that they have available to themselves.
Michael, it's interesting that you say that because were we talking about this on the show the other day, or Ba and I were talking about it because in fact, I think they were talking about on your show or maybe on Justice show with this whole shooting thing and everything. So is it let's take sin to the rational part of it. So are you rational when you go and shoot a group of people?
Mhm.
Is that rational?
To that person it is, right? Rationality and so this is where I think economics, like studying economics, has a huge benefit because it gets you thinking about certain things a little bit differently. And one of the principles is that people are rational. But rationality, what I perceive as rational, or what you perceive as rational, we look at the shooter and you're like, wow, that was completely irrational. Who the hell would ever do that, right? But regardless of if he's sick in the head, if he's racist or whatever he did was rational to him.
But it was also okay. So you looked at, but it was also a sin.
Yeah.
But the person who, let's say, okay, that person went in and he, shot these people. I'm not going to say let's say because he did do it. But someone across the street was robbing a bank. Mm-hmm. Technically, according to our Bible, depending upon what religion you are, and Hilo made a very good point, depending upon your religion and your culture, that sin, according to the Bible that I grew up with, that sin is no worse than the person who just killed, 19 people.
Yeah. Or let's take, but then let's look at the perception. So the person that killed 19 people, don't you think the parents of those children think that sin is far worse than the guy robbing the bank across the street?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, but my question would be then, if you believe in God, whoever you believe God is, when the end of the world comes and you have to face him, if you believe that you do face him, is he going to forgive the person who shot someone and killed a bunch of people or robbed that bank? Is he going to be that forgiving God and just say, both of you all have sinned, you are forgiven, and that's it? So that's why when I posted my question the way it was, because I knew that people were going to get into the whole sin thing, like, is one sin better than the other? Well, what about this and what about that? And da da da. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's where it starts to get tricky, and it starts to get offensive to some people too. Because, all right, I want you to think about this. I mean, theoretically, but correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I don't study a lot of this, but that's kind of the role that Jesus Christ plays in Christianity. Is he's already died for that sin, and as long as you can account for that sin and apologize for that sin you did, then God's willing to forgive you, right? So he wouldn't treat it any different, regardless of what it is. I don't know. I mean,
so if that's the case, then let's talk about if you forgive someone. If I forgive you because, and you hear people say, I forgive you who have killed people, I forgive you. Mm-hmm. Do you think that for when someone says, I forgive you, it means more than someone who, you stole someone's pen or you stole my backpack or something, and I say, I forgive you? Do you think that for forgiveness, that there's different levels, or like sin, technically sin's supposed to be the same, or is forgiveness the same?
I don't know. To me, like, let's say I did something bad, right? And I apologize. Like, I really felt bad for it. Whatever it may be. Okay, let's say you got caught cheating, and you go to your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend. You're like, look, I am so sorry. Like, I messed up. I was drunk. I was whatever, and they're mad. And then eventually they come and say, you know what, I forgive you. But does that mean that you're going to feel better? No, because that doesn't necessarily mean that relationship is healed. That doesn't mean that they aren't, that you haven't just soured that relationship and caused problems just because they forgive you for it. The forgiveness thing, like I think that's more of a spiritual thing, because to truly forgive someone, and completely let it go would be that they have let it go. They don't care anymore, like, and so I don't know how far forgiveness goes. I don't know if forgiveness is someone just doing it because it makes them feel better. Like, all right, I forgive them. But if you just killed someone's child, they may forgive you, but that doesn't mean they like you. That doesn't mean you have.
Definitely. Oh, absolutely.
And so it doesn't mean that you're back to where you were before, where everything was, zero sum, no opinion. I mean, so what does forgiveness really mean?
True. I'm sorry, Ralph William. I'm just looking at some of these comments. It says, "Are we talking about food?" No, we're not talking about food. Oh boy, welcome, Woody Bush. So, Bob, I'm going to ask you to weigh in here. I'm going to try to scroll down some of these comments. Bob,
Yeah, I'm here.
now we can hear you. I don't know what you did, but now we can hear you.
I closed out all the apps on my phone. Maybe it was that.
Oh, okay. So you want to add anything of what Hilo said, or Michael, or me, or anybody in the chat?
I have been listening, but I can't really think of anything
Okay.
that pops out. I'm uploading videos and doing a bit of video editing.
Okay. All right. That is fine. All right. So Heiko says, if your parents tell you to steal and disobey them, is that a sin?
What is it? Obedient or
What if your parents tell you to steal and disobey them, is that a sin? I mean, oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so if your parents tell you to steal and you disobey them, is that a sin? So are you sinning against your parents because you're disobeying them, but they're telling you to steal, which is a sin? So that is what he's asking. So I would say both of them are a sin, because you're not supposed to steal. And well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think you would be sinning against your parents because they're telling you to do something wrong. So I don't think disobeying them would be a sin in that instance. But that's just me. But who was it that said that most of our sins are based on the 10 Commandments? I forgot who says that.
But those are all the ones that are viewed the same, right? I mean, those are like
right, but at the same
yeah, all that, yeah.
For the second, I mean, for the second, for the New Testament, when Jesus came, he was supposed to, God knew that we could not abide by those 10 rules. It was too much. Mm-hmm. But we still look at it and still say, well, you must not sin, you must not steal. We're still living our lives according to the 10 Commandments.
Mm-hmm. But okay, I have now. I want you to think about this, because adultery is one of them. Now, what about a Mormon, at least back in the day, that was practicing polygamy? They're Christian-based faith, and yet they are doing exactly what it says not to do.
And I think you're absolutely right.
So, at what point?
That's hypocrisy. So
how many Catholic priests have gotten in trouble for child molestation? Look at what's going on with the Southern Baptist Church right now, and that's going on right here where I live. There's several ministers in Murfreesboro and around here that were in trouble for that. And so there's so many contradictions, right?
Right. So then, does society as a whole then have a right to point fingers at anybody? I mean, can we point fingers? Can any of us point fingers at someone else when we all sin? We're all doing it. I mean, we may not be conscious of it, but you just brought up a very good point. If you're a Mormon and you have 20 wives, well, no, you shouldn't, that's not right. Can she go out and get 20 men? No. So then that means that everyone in this world, we're all sinning on some level, so we should not call anybody out, even though we all do, because I know I do. So does that mean that we should not call anybody out because we all sin?
And so
Or
when you think about it, if we just had, because he brought like the judicial system, if we just had a Christian society, we would have a very volatile society. Why? Because as we see, people are going to sin regardless. Nothing's going to stop sin, right? It's just a matter about how sin is judged. But if we weren't doing the judging ourselves, then we couldn't keep somewhat of a, safe society. Because if we just left it up to, okay, well, in the eyes of God, you're doing bad things, we'll let him judge you and let it go. Well, we'd have every murderer still out. We'd have every rapist still out. We'd have every one that's committed these bad crimes just do whatever they want because God's going to punish them later for it. So I think that there has to be those contradictions with us. There has to be, think about it, we sentence people to death, right? We have them going to court, swear on the Bible that they're not going to lie in court. Then we convict them of a crime that, based off of everyone's, oath to that Bible, that they weren't lying when they were convicting that person. And then we go and we kill them later if they're.
Okay, Michael. Then let me ask this. So what Hilo said when he said that depending upon your religion and your culture, what if I don't believe in the Bible and I put my hand on this book or whatever you all think this book is, and I don't believe in it, and I get on the stand and I do lie. And of course, we all know that people do get on the stand; they still lie anyway. But I'm just saying, and I do lie, and you catch me in that lie. You said, "Well, you swore."
It is illegal to do that. Yeah, it is illegal to get up there and lie.
So isn't that cause? Are you going to tell me that I did something wrong because I put my hand on something, or if I said I don't want to put my hand on this particular book that you all say but I don't believe in it. So what do you do?
Yeah, well, I think they have different in that exact circumstance. They have different ones you can swear. I think you can, if you want to get up there and do it on the Quran, you can do it on the Quran and the Torah or something like that. So they have that option. But I think it just goes back to the fact that
what if
when we're going to,
what if he's atheist?
What's that? I don't know.
I was just about to ask that. What if you are an atheist? I was just about to ask that. Thank you.
Then you do it on the Constitution, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, but okay. Because now it does. You do start to get into the weeds, especially when you live in a country with so many different cultures and religions, and people are raised this way. Hell, we don't even eat the same food. So when you start talking about sin and what have you, again, you have some families who actually kill their daughters for these honor things because they didn't marry the person that they wanted them to marry, or they slept with somebody, and to us that's a sin, but to them you dishonored the family.
Well, okay, let's go back in time. Was it King Henry VIII? Right? Killed what, 2 wives because they couldn't have a son, right? Because he believed that he was given the power to rule by God and that it was his job, and based on what God has given him, that he needed to have a son and pass down that power, and he couldn't do that, and so he punished the women for that. That was a common theme with the monarchs, right? Yeah, and by the way, as far as the atheists, they just have to affirm to tell the truth. They don't have to swear on a Bible.
Okay.
So, but then you look at it, well, is an atheist less trustworthy? I don't know.
I wouldn't say so, because you have a lot of people who swear, like you said, you have your priests and your reverends and ministers and all this other stuff who are sinning. So why would you
Well, what
not
does an
want?
atheist have to lose, though, right? A Christian believes that, well, I'm going to sin if I do get up here and lie after I just swore on the Bible. You have that thing going in the back of your mind, like, I'm being judged by God. An atheist doesn't see that at all. They have nothing to lose if they lie,
True,
especially if they don't
true,
get caught.
Yeah,
true. I just want to
yeah,
read.
yeah. That's
Wait, I just want to read
so.
one of the comments. But Mafia also says, sin is a word, deed, or desire in opposition to the internal law of God, or as Scripture states, sin is the transgression of the law. So, Hilo, I apologize for interrupting you. What would you like to say?
Yeah, I was following the point Michael makes. Like in the atheist paradigm, they don't have any sin. They don't have a sin. So that's why if you are Christian and do some sins, you fear that God will judge you and you'll have the consequence of making that sin. But in atheist, they don't have any consequences. They don't believe even if there is an afterlife. So in their worldview, there is no sin. They could do everything. So sin, I think, it depends on what the person believes.
Okay, now Mafioso says atheists believe in nothing, don't have faith. That's a sin. I don't know if I necessarily think I don't know about mafioso, because again, it depends upon your culture, how you were raised. I mean, Christians,
According to Christians, it is, though, because I'm
right?
just
But okay, but who says that Christianity is like everything? I mean, you look
I,
at how Christianity was forced on a lot of people. I mean, again, Christians are, to me, some of the main people who are out there sinning. So how
yep.
can you say that not having faith is a sin?
I don't know if you were in the TikTok live where I had someone call in that it was this young kid, young guy, and he immediately starts going on about the word of God and like going, down that Christian religious deal. And I stopped him because it's kind of random, but I said, I want to ask you something, now I believe in God, right? I'm a Christian, but at the same time, what makes you think that you're right? Because he said he was going around trying to, get people to come over, right? And get
Hmm.
people the word of God and all that stuff. And I said, why is it that you think you're right? Because the same person that you're preaching to, like a Muslim or a Jew or whatever, equally, if not more, thinks that
Thinks they're
they're
right.
right. Yeah. And why is it that you're okay to do that and they're wrong? What makes what makes them wrong? Right. And I do have a problem with that, especially because there is a history. Now Muslims are extreme and they do it too. I don't know so much about Jews, but Christians are bad. How many missionaries? Come on, Christianity did not start in Africa, right? But it's a big religion there now. Um,
But
like
that's because of missionaries
yeah,
who went there and again
mhm.
forced Christianity
Same thing
on
with the
them.
natives
So
here.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
and you could argue that a lot of the stuff that happened wasn't based on race, it was based on religion, right? They weren't Christians. They didn't follow the certain words of God, so they were forcing that on people. I mean, and I've that is one thing I've always never or I never understood is forcing someone to believe a religion that you yourself, and let's be honest, you're not 100% sure, you have deep faith and you have, you believe, yeah, but so do they, and I,
No, I mean, no,
yeah,
you're absolutely right. And Mafioso, he's just saying all these things. He says he's coming up with some good points. He's answering you, Michael Key, because the poverty in Africa is different from poverty from America. I think he's referring to your Nigerian comment.
that's
And then he says we all sin, only Jesus didn't sin. And he says you can't say sorry and then sin
that
again.
was when I was talking about the girlfriend.
And
Yeah,
right, and you can't say sorry and then keep sinning. You have to look deep into yourselves to stop sinning. Repentance and mean. Okay, Brina says exactly to mafioso, repent and mean it. Then Heiko says you can commit sin, but repentance is allowed because we are human. Is nature. I think you're trying to say it's in our nature to do bad things. He was possessed by demons. Demons are everywhere. Not sure who you're talking about, mafioso. Heiko says killing human beings is illogical thing. And then Boss says to you, Michael, would you say that was rational to the shooter? That was his truth.
Oh yeah,
Uh-oh, Bob. Uh-oh.
but yeah, that's a good argument to
I
make.
know where that truth is coming from. So, Bob, you want to go? Are you still on?
No, he's not here.
He's not there. Okay, here he comes. He's coming back. Bob,
And Ralph
you
Williams really wants to get me fired up with this communism uh, comment because he's right. Communism and religion cannot coexist. There's never been a communist ideologist that has admitted that. Now, there's communists on TikTok believe that you can, and it's a joke to me because it can't. But he says, so there's no sin. Honestly, in the eyes of communists, there is no sin. Look at what communist leadership has done throughout. Look at what Stalin did. How many people did Stalin kill? Look at what Xi is doing now with the Muslim population. So, yeah, I think that when it comes to that and people who have that ideology, there are no sin, and they treat it like that.
okay? All right. Bob.
Yeah, I agree, Michael. I think it's quite.
Okay. You are now faint again. So, did you open up those applications?
2 seconds, I'll close them.
Oh boy. Yeah, I want to. You had a question about Michael and the truth, and I would like to hear about his truth because I know we've been going back and forth with that phrase between the two of us.
Yeah,
So
it was a tongue-in-cheek comment. That's kind of it's past now, so I don't know if you want to go over all ground.
if you want to comment on anything that that was said, because I'm behind in the comments, and I know a lot of the comments are something that we said past. So if you want to say something, go ahead.
I think the last round of comments, I would have to say that a lot of the behaviour that you're kind of leading upon is the extremist individuals that take things too far. They kind of ruin it for the group, and sometimes they can get a bad rap just because of an individual. Um, I mean, we could link the shooter comment again in by saying a lot of these shooters leave manifestos weirdly, and it demonizes a certain type of person, and then I'm sure those types of people are sitting at home going, I have no passion in my bones to go shooting up anyone, so don't go labeling me that way. Um, and again, with religion, I do see that there is a lot of cult-like behavior, and I'm not saying that cults are all bad. I think the media have kind of portrayed that, but I often I think like a cult would be a good thing if it had a good message, and it was on the right track, if you will. So whenever you're talking about individuals, it's just people can take their views too far and go to the extreme measures. Yeah.
Okay, but and just to be clear, when I brought up the whole the shooter thing, I was strictly just comparing, and like I did say, but someone across the street just robbed a bank. Do you consider that the same type of sin? So that's why I said
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
fine.
I'm not trying to, I'm just comparing, the whole thing is with sin, and like, it's like people are saying, depending upon your culture, your religion, whatever, one sin is worse than the other. And like Michael says, if you kill my child, yes, I'm going to think that sin is a lot worse than if you went and you stole my bike,
Yeah.
but they're still sins.
Isn't, sorry, just a quick question. Isn't it a sin to borrow money or be a borrower? Am I getting that wrong?
Someone had said, I had heard that years and years ago, but I don't know. I do know that I think it was Franklin who said neither a borrower, or what is it? Neither a
Not lend
borrower,
or be.
or a beggar.
yeah, neither a
Not
lender
lend or.
or a borrower be. So I think that's where that's coming from. I don't think I don't think that's in the Bible. At
I
least I
think
haven't read.
maybe I think so. It says as far as the 10 Commandments, the 10th one is you shall not covet, which is yearn to possess or have something. So maybe borrowing plays into that because you're borrowing because of that desire to possess something.
I feel like it's
But
something to
see,
do with usury.
but I look at covet being that your neighbor just bought a new car and you really wish you could buy that. I mean, you really wish you could have that car. That's what I see covet as.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
and you know, once again, the interpretation.
but you so another commandment here that I just saw was hold on, let me go back to it.
And thank you, Ralph Williams, for the gift. Thank you. I
So it says the
appreciate it.
second one is you shall not make idols. Yet entire Christianity is literally revolves around an idol of Jesus Christ. So, I mean, isn't that a sin in itself?
No, I mean, again, this is one reason I knew this topic was going to go this way. I knew it was. And I think you're absolutely right. And listen to what Mafioso says. He says, no, God directly told us not to judge. The judicial system is a sin.
Yeah.
Is that true?
But that's what I brought up earlier about society. Like if we just had a Christian-based society with no judicial system, we'd have a really volatile society because people are going to sin no matter what. Right. And if we just left it up for God to judge and not us, and we said it's not our place, well, we're going to have a lot of bad people running around. Right. So the judicial system makes a safer environment because think about it. If we're not supposed to judge, then when someone goes and does one of these mass shootings, what would we do? I mean, are we not supposed to punish them? We would just say, well, you know what? In God's eyes, you're a sinner and you're going to have to answer to him.
Okay, now what about this? Ninja Bunny says, I'm a practicing Buddhist and we don't believe in sin. Anybody want to take that one?
I don't know anything about Buddhism. So
So I mean, but I think it's interesting to say because I've never heard that before because I'm not familiar with that. You don't believe in sin. So Ninja Money and I again I'm behind in the comments, but if you don't believe in sin, then do you not believe in wrong and right? That you can do something wrong? Because if you do something wrong, technically, isn't that a sin?
yeah, I mean,
So I'm just reading somebody great. Okay, Mafioso says Ninja Bunny great spiritual religion, but Buddha never died for humanity and resurrected. Now, okay, so again, Christians believe in the resurrection. God, Jesus, whatever. But does that mean that other religions are wrong when it comes to sin? I
well,
mean,
don't Buddhists believe in reincarnation?
Okay, Ninja Bunny, do you want to come up?
I don't
You?
know. I mean, but
I mean, because I don't know anything about the
said yeah.
Buddhists. I don't.
She said yeah.
Okay, so I sent you an invite if you want to come up because.
So Buddhists do believe in reincarnation. Therefore, that's a form of resurrection. Just saying.
Well, see, and this is where it. Okay, she can't come up right now. Okay, so this is where things get murky, and this is where I think that. Okay,
Not
let me
as
put it like this. Would you say that Christians have pretty much dominated society in terms of what is right and what's wrong?
not for very long. Maybe now, but not for. I mean, during the Romans and before them, no, absolutely not, because you had the pagans then, and but Christians started to grow during that time. You also had the Jews. I mean, have been around. I think even longer than that, and then the Muslims have been around even longer than that. maybe now, recently, in recent times, you could say that, but I think that's more of a victim of circumstance than it is the religion itself, right? I mean, you look at the most powerful countries in the world and what the primary religions are.
Okay,
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Mafioso says all religions are intertwined, but only one man died and resurrected. And Hilo, I know you want to say something, so you have the mic. What would you like to say?
Yeah, I would say even Christians and the Muslims, Islam, are very close in terms of a number of the population. Actually, I am from Africa, Somalia. I'm a Muslim, so I would say all that this topic we are talking about, it will come into sin. If we are talking about the sin, it depends on the religion you are believing in, and in that way you will determine if you met a sin or not. If the people have different religion, then the question would be which religion is correct to be used as a criteria to judge which sin is, what is sin or not. So if Michael said he's a Christian, so I think he's believing that Christian morals will judge what a sin or not, or the morals of the Christianity will guide you, that you are not going to sin. So someone like me who doesn't believe a Christianity, who believe Islam and is a Muslim, doesn't believe Jesus and the what the Bible says, he doesn't consider a divine. So if he do something like which is against the Bible, is he sinning? I think because he doesn't believe it. So the question will be, which religion would you use as your criteria to judge what's a sin or what's not? That's the
yeah.
real question. I think we will talk now. The topic now it's coming to which religion is right to use it. I think
And
you understand.
no, I understand what you're saying. And Hilo, I want to. And again, I'm behind in the comments, but I'm reading this little exchange between Mafioso and Ninja. Because Mafioso, to say I will show you the truth, again, it comes back to, are we just assuming that Christianity is the truth when you have so many different religions that are out there? Everyone will believe their own truth.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, um, let's see. I don't know. It's okay. Mafioso says, well, Jesus Christ isn't a religion. He's the truth and the word, according to Christians. He says, not the word written by men, the word spoken by Jesus, but that's if you believe in Jesus Christ. So doesn't it still come down to that when you look at sin, that the interpretation that you have of it depends upon, like like Hilo said, it depends upon how you were raised,
Yes.
what church you went to or temple or whatever. I mean,
It 100% does, because look at all the different types of people inside of Christianity. Look at the Amish,
right.
right? So it 100% has to do with certain factors like that. Why is it even in the Amish community? You have the Mennonites, you have the Amish. One is allowed to go and pursue some type of technology and what we would consider a normal way of life, and some are completely strict and 100% against any of that. Right? They still live like they're back in the 1700s. So and then you have the Mormons, right? And they live different and have different practices. We brought the polygamy thing. Now, I don't think they're doing a whole lot of that anymore, but they were. Then you have, there's so many different types of cultures inside of the one broad type of belief system. And, you know, I think the one thing that religion does, like Bob brought up it being a cult. I mean, theoretically, you could classify it as such, but I think the one thing that it does do, regardless of any religion, is it provides structure, it provides beliefs, and it does provide morals and some type of, I would say, security, right? Like, how many people they go and they find Jesus and they were a drug addict, all of a sudden they change their life around, right? They start, they got off drugs, they start a family. I mean, you see it in every church. And I think that is the power of God real? That could play a toll, but I think part of the power of God is the religious structure that they have bought into, that now they're abiding by that set of rules and morals and values that has helped them get out of whatever predicament they were in. And look at the value, like marriage, right?
Hmm.
How much does marriage help children in communities? It helps a lot, and it shows. And I think that there's certain values that different religions have, or the Christian religion has, which I think the Christian one works great when you abide by it. And I think that is what is good about religion, whether or not it's real. I think that the fact that it's there and that it has a structural form that can help benefit society, I think that it's something that, regardless of any bad it's done, it is definitely good overall.
You make a point, and again, I apologize for being behind in the chat, but Ralph Williams said kind of like China trying to eliminate the
Yeah,
Uyghurs there. So,
that's what I brought up about the communists.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, again, why does sin seem to be so in your face in some societies, but in others, it's it's not. I mean, for Ninja Bunny to say that Buddhists don't we believe in sin, I just find that fascinating. I really find that fascinating.
But they must believe in law, right?
So Ninja Bunny, I mean, can you type in what your basis of?
They absolutely believe in law because their society has laws.
Oh, you're welcome, Ralph. I try to come up with topics that I know that people are going to get into. Um, well, mafioso. Okay, again, Jesus isn't an idol. He's the truth. And I don't. And don't get me wrong. I do believe in the Bible, but I also believe, or places. I also have to respect what other people believe and do, because you just can't erase. I mean, if someone is raised a certain way in a certain church, and then all of a sudden, they come here or wherever, I can't force my beliefs on you. I can't make you, you know, uh, you know, read the Bible and say that this is the truth. This is if this is not what you think.
Mhm.
Okay, so Ralph William is coming up. And you said, what is another word for sin? So there is no religious undertones.
Wrongdoing.
Wrongdoing. Okay, and Ralph, just so you know, the definition that I got, it was strictly the definition from off of the Google, and I just needed it as a reference point. So, Ralph, welcome. What would you like to say?
I just want to do a sound check if I'm okay or am I too.
Yes, you are fine. Check, check, check. You are fine.
I mean, I just I wanted to figure that out. I didn't know what definition you were using in terms of sin, because sin does have religious undertones. So I don't know if that's your intention to keep it focused on religion, but
No,
what
no. I
about?
mean, when I say, I mean, I again, I just use that as a reference point, and that's why I said that with this word sin, I knew it was going to take different roads because people see it differently.
Yeah, I know I'm late, but I don't know if anybody brought it up. Like, what about civilizations or people that are cut off from the world, and maybe a little like maybe in trying to think of some culture. I don't know. I can't think of one off the
The
hand.
north was it North Sentinel Island, where no one's allowed to go. Right? They never had any kind of uh, like interaction really. They still live like they did 1,000 years ago. You know, someone cut off like that. Who knows what they're doing? Right? They could be doing human sacrifices.
Yeah, that could be a big thing there. You never know, like, because I think it all stems down to like tribalism in different forms, whether it be religion or a civilized society or a cut off society like the one that Michael mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Sin is probably perceived differently, or wrongdoing is perceived differently for every small little niche group. So, like in Christianity, just committing the sin of murder, that's a sin. But and I'm not familiar with any other religions, so I apologize. But that could be different in another society where if they steal, they have the right to kill you, or they can just kill you just for the way you look at them. Excuse me.
You're in
No,
the
I mean,
Matrix.
and that's a great point.
Oh, all you guys are in the Matrix.
So once again, then, do you think it's okay? So if you're living on an island or wherever and you don't have contact with other people and you do a human sacrifice, is that necessarily wrong for them? It may be wrong for us, but is it necessarily wrong? And that's for anybody to answer.
No, but then you're going down a bad rabbit hole, and I have an example I want to bring up, and this is Bob would freaking laugh.
Okay,
But
go
I don't.
ahead.
I mean, we can go down this rabbit hole and really get deep into this. All right, but I just want to let you know I do not believe this. We are just getting deep, and I just want to
Okay, all
give
right.
some thought. All right, if we're going to talk about something that's controversial, so based off that same type of thinking, right, about how those people could be doing a human sacrifice. And no, it wouldn't be wrong to their culture, their society. I mean, the Mayans did it, right? A lot of people. The English that were the Druids before the Romans went up there, they were doing the same thing. Then look at Nazism in Germany and what they did with the Jews, right? Then that they perceive that as okay to their society and their belief system. Then who are we to tell them that that was wrong too, right?
Right.
And exactly like what Ball says, that's their truth. But we have determined that that wasn't right. And then look at the Buffalo shooter and his beliefs. Now, we don't know a lot about this last guy there down there in Texas. When I said they're rational, that's different than being rational and doing it because of your belief system and your culture are two different things, right? Because you may go and catch your wife cheating on you and you go take care of that. That has nothing to do with your Christian beliefs. That has to do with, you know,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
you think you're making a rational decision because of you caught them doing something you didn't like.
right.
But as far as, what the Nazi party believed, that, they believed they were doing the right thing. As far as what the communists believe under Stalin and all, I mean, he killed 20 million people, 30 million people. They thought they were doing the right thing.
But a thought like that, but
you know,
okay, but a thought like that to me is not the same as someone, again, if you're living and you're detached from anybody, you're just your own little group, whatever, and you have no clue of what is going on in the outside world.
mm-hmm.
So, you know, Stalin and Hitler and all these other people, they were well aware. I mean, for them, it was power. But for these other people, it just could be, this is whoever they're praying to, whether it be an idol, some god, whomever. They're giving these sacrifices because they truly believe this.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and I understand you and I mean, look, I think we all agree on it, but I just want to bring up a different perspective because if you think about it, the Nazi Party and Hitler and all that, he had a belief, and when he came back after World War One, he got verification of the belief, right? And I said this about okay. Do you think the Buffalo shooter would have done what he did if he only read the information that he read online without having any kind of verification as to that ideology. And when I say that is, don't you think that he had to have some kind of confirmation, like, oh, I'm reading this stuff online, I see this what was it, replacement theory, and that I'm seeing this about black people and all this and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden he goes into maybe the wrong TikTok live one day, right? That is hosted by a black guy who's going off about things that he doesn't like to hear. And then he sees the immigration numbers and he's putting it all together, and it's not correct, but he's perceiving it as such, right? And the same thing with the Nazi party. It's like they're they've had a belief, but then it seems like, okay, they've just gotten
Wait,
confirmation.
Michael, let me interrupt you for a minute. Linda, I mute people when other people are talking. So that is me. That is doing that. So please mute while other people are talking. Okay, Michael, go ahead.
But I mean, I'm just giving a different perspective based off of that, right? Like, what is right and wrong, and then who are we to tell other cultures or societies or political beliefs or whatever that they're wrong? I mean, we do it all the time. We're always guilty of it. I'm probably one of the worst, no doubt. But that's
no,
just...
and right, and that's why I say, it's like, who are we to put our beliefs on someone else? Before we go on to the next person who wants to talk, I do want to read what Ninja Bunny says, because she did take the time to put all this out. She said, in Buddhist thinking, the whole universe, men as well as gods, are subjects to a reign of law. Every action, good or bad, has an inevitable and automatic effect in a long chain of causes, an effect which is independent of the will of any deity, even though this may leave no room for the concept of sin in the sense of an act of defiance against the authority of a personal God. Buddhists speak of sin when referring to transgressions and the universal moral code. I'm going to copy and paste this again in the chat, because she did put this up a while back. Okay, Linda, welcome. You have the mic.
She's still muted.
Oh, let me unmute her.
Into it, he was bloody evil, that fella. And there's a difference between him and what people sort of doing, little bits of things. But don't bring what he did into it. He was wicked evil for all he did. So you can't bring, just because he thought he was right in what he was doing, basically, it's not, I don't know what he's talking about. He's talking rubbish, basically. Rubbish.
Okay, Linda, I think what Michael is saying is he's just giving another. Wait, hold on, Linda. Linda, hold on, because
talking Hitler. Don't even
Linda,
I know Hitler was a bad person.
Linda, can you please wait for Linda? Hold on. I am going to ask everyone to please stop. I'm asking everyone to please stop. Linda, you came into the conversation quite late, and we have been talking about various things, okay? All Michael was doing was he was just giving another look at how you could possibly look at things, just as you are. Hold on. Wait, okay. Linda, I'm asking you, Linda, I am asking you to please stop. I'm asking you, please.
I will stop.
Okay, I'm just saying he was just giving another view, just like you were. You were giving an opinion, and that's what Michael was doing. So, Michael, if you would like to explain to her what you were doing.
Yeah, look, the basis of the thing we're talking about, North Sentinel Island, right, where they have been cut off from the world, and they may be, we don't know. We were just saying, well, they may be doing practices like human sacrifices and things like that, right? And I mean, if I were to do a human sacrifice, we would all agree that that is sick, like that is disgusting, and I would go to jail. But to them and their society, that's right. The Mayans, there's been other cultures that have done this. And I said, that is why everyone has a difference in perspective, and when you break it down to, those people doing human sacrifices, when I said, all right, let's look at Hitler and Nazism and their belief system, what is the difference between the way we look at the culture doing human sacrifices and, the Nazi party practicing what they did because of the way that they believed? All I was saying is that we're getting to, like, what is the difference? Is it because we deem that it's unacceptable, or is it really unacceptable, but it's only unacceptable to us because of our culture and our perception of things, right? That's what I was saying. I know it's not what Hitler did was disgusting. It was wrong. I was not catering to him in any way. I was just giving a different thought perspective, right? Because let's say George Bush in the United States, we got 9/11 and we got drawn into a war, but he went to Iraq, and if you looked up the numbers, you could probably find some places that estimate over 1 million Iraqis died in the second Gulf War. You could say he's evil as well, right? But we don't. I mean, he's not in jail. We haven't deemed him to be a necessarily evil person, more than it was a matter of circumstance. So I guess we're just trying to figure out, like, what is the difference? What makes it right and wrong? Right. That's what
That's what we're talking about. Yeah. So Linda, would you like to respond to what Michael just said?
From the Iraqi war as well. It's, I don't know, you can't say one thing against another, can you, with extremes? You can talk about culture, but you can talk about, you know what I mean? But you're talking about Hitler in the amount of how many he killed, and people didn't even accept it. So, you depending on what dimension, but you're going from one extreme to the next. That Buffalo Bill, he was sick, he was ill. But you know what I mean? You can't go from one extreme to the next. That's all I'm saying.
I understand.
If you ever had people had up against you for talking about Hitler, I don't. No matter what you say, you talk to extremes. You go on. Anybody'd say the same for what he did. So you can't even go there with that one.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is, you're right. Well, the majority of people, though, also are a part of a religion that do agree that it was wrong, right? Like Christianity and Judaism. I mean, we would all 100% agree that that's true. But then you also have certain cultures, like in China, where they're actually committing genocide against Muslims and certain people of religions. You have certain Muslim cultures that do commit genocide against Christians, and then trying to do it against the Jews in Israel. And then you could say, like, what I'm getting at is throughout history, there have been different belief systems that have done bad atrocities. Like, I mean, if the Mayans were doing human sacrifices, then they 100% were enslaving people as well, and killing people too. You have the Hutus and the Tutsis in Rwanda that had a major war, and over 1 million people died in a week. And so, to them, they were doing the right thing. To everyone else outside looking in, we're like, wow, that is so messed up. But to them, it was obviously justified. And so, is it our culture that tells us it's wrong, or is it really wrong? That's what I was getting at, right? Like, because other cultures may deem it to be okay.
Well, what would you say about Putin then? Do you know what I mean? Is he right and what he's doing?
Well, I've covered this extensively on my own show as far as the war in Russia. With Putin, what Putin is doing in Ukraine, he's done some very bad things. Yeah. There's a lot of variables.
We're joining in. We're helping him. English is helping him.
Well, we have instigated this, right?
We're making it worse.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So the West, like here in the United States, right? Most of the people are back in Ukraine, right? But when you actually go and look at the situation, you really need to take a neutral stance, because there is a reason that both sides are in this conflict. Putin has his reasons for being there and doing what he's doing. whether or not you're saying it, oh, it's screwed up, that doesn't mean that something didn't push him to do that, right? We don't live in Russia. We don't, if you listen to him, he's 100% justified in what he's trying to do, but that doesn't mean that we're not justified or anything.
The West pushed him, basically. They tried to westernize Ukraine. They kept pushing.
Exactly.
It was part of the USA.
And this is a different kind of conversation. But
that's a conversation for a different show.
Okay then.
We can do that on a different show. Bob, are you able to hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah.
No, I'm talking to Bahram. Let's see. So
said he can't speak.
Okay, I see this. I see he's been having problems with his mic. So Alex Will, welcome.
Hey.
Hey, do you want to comment on what we've been talking about? We're going to be wrapping it up pretty soon. So do you want to make a comment on sin or what you believe sin is, or?
I believe in what? Like, what is the topic? So I can.
I'm sorry, it just always tickles me when people call in, then they don't know what the topic is. We're just talking about sin. We're just talking about sin. Just some people believe in sin, some people don't. Some people think one sin is better than the, or I'm sorry, not better. Some people think one sin is more or greater than another. We're just talking about sin.
Well, this is universal truth that if we do something bad with other person, so we will get bad in future.
Okay. 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 I am going to go to Ralph William because I think I cut him off before, so I apologize.
Yeah, no worries. Am I coming in clear?
Yes, you are.
Okay. I just wanted to this. I don't know how this is going to be perceived, but when the young lady said that we're jumping from extremes, it seems like an extreme, but people tend to overlook the little steps that it took to get there. It's kind of like the boiling frog theory. But what about? Can somebody explain to me and help me with the acronyms? I don't know if I have the right acronym. The individuals that I don't know if they're trying to change the definition or the name. This might strike a chord, so prepare yourself. The pedophilia name, they want to change it to something else, or they want to have a subcategory of it, which I think is MAP or something like that. So if somebody knows the name of it.
Yeah. I'll talk about this very briefly, but that's another subject and another topic. So
right,
Michael,
go ahead. Sorry.
No, go, Ralph. Go ahead.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They consider that not a problem, right?
When you say not a problem, you mean not a sin?
Yeah.
Acceptable, yeah.
Okay. I see where you're going. Okay.
So in doing these little small changes, you tend to see the boiling frog effect happen where something that is considered, if you just blatantly bring it out, you would know, like you innately know, at least this civilized society knows that it's wrong, right? Whether it be upbringing or not. And but the boiling frog theory is like the little inch that you give it with changing definitions and laws and things like that, you tend to eliminate that sin or however you want to name it. But Mike, I don't know if you want to talk about it or give me the actual um, acronyms to it. I don't know if I said that right.
I don't know the acronyms, but I think I know where you're going with it. Is why is it deemed acceptable by them but not everybody else? And kind of going back to like what I said. I mean, because I believe that's like one of the worst, if not the worst thing you could do. But obviously, other people don't have that same mindset. and I guess I contradict myself. Like, who are we to tell them that they're wrong, right? But at the same time, they're doing that to my children, and so that's where it starts being a problem too. But I don't think they should do it to any child. But yeah,
So, Michael, then let me ask this. So, if you're on that island
Mhm.
where you have no contact with society, and pedophilia is something that you do, is that considered a sin to them?
Well, it may not be right because how many cultures have married women when they were 12 years old? My own culture did, right? I mean,
Yeah.
at what point did it become unacceptable? I think that I don't know. I think I don't like it at all. I think it's gross. I think it's disgusting. But
It is.
you could also make the argument that maybe women back then were far more mature and were doing it for different reasons than what you were now. I mean, uh, Alex will just Christian. When I say my own culture, because I mean, you could go back to the Pilgrims. You could go back to just early here in the United States, and they were doing that.
Right.
So I think all cultures have probably taken part in that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know when it became socially unacceptable, but I know that as far as the way I see it, we see our children as kind of defenseless and anything like that. And no, Alex, well, I haven't read it much at all. So when I'm just going off of my beliefs here. That's it. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. Um, you know, it just uh, and they may marry underage as well. I don't see it as right. I think that it's tough. But if you went to that island and you saw it, I guess what would you say at the same point? Because they're practicing and that's a part of their religion. I mean, what could you say?
And then that's where I guess, because I'm going to be wrapping it up because we're getting towards the 2 hour mark. And Alex, I did see your comment when you said, "Have you read the Bible?" That is where when Hilo said from the very beginning when he came on, is that depending upon what religion you are, what culture you are from, who's to say what sin is greater than another? What you may think is a sin, somebody else may not think it is. Human sacrifice may be good in some parts of the world, and in the other places it isn't. But I do believe that in the United States, we have one of the most judgmental places in the entire world, and we are probably the most hypocritical on the entire planet. But that's just my own personal thought. So I'm going to let everyone give their final thoughts, and I'm going to start with Alex. So, Alex, do you want to say anything in your final thought?
Yes, like at last you said that States about your country, and like I'm from India, and the same thing happening in India, like people fighting, religious gangsters, murder, chat calls, the thing happening in America, the same thing happening in India also. But the thing is, uh, the only thing is the thing happening in America and the things happening what in India is different, but uh, everything is same. You know what I mean? Like, I hope you got it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for sharing. Ralph, you have the mic. Do you have anything you would like to add? And Alex, I'm going to mute you while other people are talking. Um, Ralph.
I just want to say thank you for having me, and just to say that um have the foresight to see where things are going in terms of. I'm going back to this boiling frog thing because it all takes little small steps. This is where the word grooming comes from for certain situations. So, uh, one thing is that they try to make things not be bad or not be a sin, and then once you look back at it, down the road, you've done some crazy atrocities. So just have the foresight to see the future and see where things are going, and don't be so upset when people get upset for something that might seem minute, because it could lead to worse things. Thank you, Solid Blue Sister, for having me. Take care.
And thank you for coming up. Thank you. Mafioso, Michael, before I come to you, Michael says, Mafioso says, I have a great question. Why is sin constantly being legalized? Mafioso, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know.
Because we have
I
our own free
don't.
will.
There's an answer for you. So,
Yeah.
so Michael, you want to give your last words?
Yeah. Go back to your contradiction statement. I agree. I think we are an extremely contradicting society, but I would say the reason is because we have all of those different cultures here. That is what makes us contradicting, right? Because if we all had a very similar belief system, it wouldn't be as contradicting, not even close.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this last question because Ba and I have talked about this. Do you think that religion has caused more wars than any other thing in this since time began? That more wars and more deaths, more people die because of a religious belief than anything else.
I don't even think it's a close second, honestly. I mean, if you look, it could be the basis of anything, right? Like that that'd be a primary cause on why cultures couldn't live with each other. But I think greed plays a part. War comes from a few different things. You have greed or money, religion, and then you have there's one more, but uh, I think religion is a huge basis because what war do you know if that hasn't been caused by religion or had a religious motive behind it?
I don't think there are really any that I can think of offhand because most of them do. When you really look at it, religion plays a part some way somehow.
Yeah, but yeah. Look at 9/11, right? Now, I don't think the war itself following 9/11 was based on religion, with as far as our motives. But the start and what kind of was the catalyst to that did. Then you go look at World War II and what Hitler did. Now, the catalyst for that, it may not have been started on religion, but it definitely revolved around it for a large part of that. World War One, you could make the argument was a little bit different motives. You have the Civil War, the American Civil War would be the only one I can think of that we participated in that didn't have some kind of religious motive behind it. But other than that, I mean, uh, there was a lot. I mean, the Romans, all that, they had motives, but a lot of it is based on religion.
Yeah.
Especially in England and stuff, for sure, with the Vikings and all that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, everyone, thank you so much. This was an interesting show. Uh, lots of different opinions. We went down a lot of rabbit holes, but we all came back up. Everybody's fine, I hope. Whatever. But thank you so much. Tomorrow is Thursday, so tomorrow's supposed to be my fun subject, whatever. So we're going to try this again from last week. We're going to try to keep it on track and have fun with it. So, Michael, thank you for coming up on the panel. So, guys, on that note, enjoy the rest of your day or evening wherever you are in the world. And as I always say, and you guys laugh at me, but go where the wind takes you. Hope to see you tomorrow. Bye. Thank you, Michael, again. And Alex and Ba, hope you can get your sound going. Don't know what's going on. And Abina, Angie, we are closing out now. Woody Bush, Linda, WCEV, welcome. Thank you. Alex, Rena, Shy Lady, Mafioso, Frankie Thar Girl, Hypo, Grid, Tuttles. Rena, who else am I missing? Anyone else that was on and I missed? Thank you guys so much for coming. I appreciate it.